Good Monday night to everybody, as now we get set to this edition of the MLB podcast. So, here we go. So, in this episode, what we're going to do is there's going to be prospects. I'm getting a list for baseball, 1 through 75, and then part 4, 6 through 50. So, here we go. And now, part 1. Number 1, Ronald Acuna, an outfielder in the Atlanta Braves system. So, Acuna, his story is interesting, right? In 2016, was in low A, and kind of got hurt, moved slowly, so he thought, okay. Had to catch up, thought, okay, maybe he's now ready for high A, maybe even double A. We'll see. We'll see how it goes, and if Acuna did not get hurt in 2016, had a full season, he could have been in the majors at 9. He really could have. But anyways, so Acuna in 2017 started high A, did really well there, finished in AAA Gwinnett, and what kind of Acuna did, might remind Braves fans of Andrew Jones in 1996, and Jason Hayward in 2009, flew through, made it all the way to AAA, and then debuted in 2010, and they both contributed to a postseason team in their rookie years very quickly and very early in their career. And could the same thing happen with Acuna? Well, it depends how good the Braves are this year. So anyways, he just turned 20 in December, and he's going to get a look in spring training, and look, he's ready for the majors. No question about it. But when you have a prospect this great, you want to make sure that they get all the time they need. Like, they get that extra 7th year. And I think the Braves are going to do that. Now, it doesn't matter how well he performs in spring training. They'll tell him, look, we know how good you are, but this is what's best for the team. You're going to have to spend an extra year or an extra few weeks down in Gwinnett, and I bet by mid-April, Acuna will be in the big leagues, will be all ready to go. So that's what's going to happen. Definitely be in the MLB this season, no question about it. And I say very likely in April. Number 2, Shohei Otani, pitcher and DH for the LA Angels. Now, Otani, he's not really a minor leaguer. He's a Japanese league superstar, which their league's about halfway between AAA and the majors, probably the second best baseball league in the world. And look, he was great there, did it both ways. And look, he's not going to spend any time in the majors at all. Yeah, it might be fun to watch him pitch an inning or two in a spring training game. Maybe get a couple at bats in a spring training game or two, and really kind of see what he can do. But look, I wouldn't be surprised if he's their opening day starter and hits in game 2. That really may happen, and that could be very exciting. This might be, something we haven't seen in 100 years. Having a two-way player in the major leagues. And it'll be interesting to see how well this actually pays off. So yeah, the Angels are at 10 o'clock, and there's not much competition other than them. So the Angels, they could be a really fun team to watch this year. Otani, he could really be something special. Number 3, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., a third baseman in the Toronto Blue Jays system. So Vlad Jr., son of Hall of Famer Vladimir Guerrero. And look, he's just 18. And he's not going to be 19 until about a month from now or late in the spring training. And look, barely 18. 18 last year. Destroyed low A and high A ball at age 18. Think about that. If you're an American player, you're 18 right now. You're just starting your senior year of high school. Or you're in college. And most players when they're 18 don't even touch low A ball or are in low A ball. Do not go through very far in the minors. This guy at 18 has already dominated high A. And look, I think this year, he could be in the majors this year. Now, is he going to be called up in opening day? No, I don't think so. But there is an example I remember from 2013. Jose Fernandez, made the opening day roster at age 20 and did not pitch in high A, did not pitch above double A and dominated. So could Vlad Jr. be up at just 19 years in a few days? No, I don't think so. That's not going to happen. There's no need to rush someone who is barely 19. They have plenty of time. Now, later in 2018, that's a different story. Look, if he goes to Toronto at the way he's at, plays really well in Double-A, goes down to the goes down into Triple-A, plays well there, and decides, you know what, by mid-season, the Blue Jays, maybe their offense isn't doing so well. They call him up. Look, I'll not be shocked if he's 19 in the majors, and look, this kid that Vlad is, think about it. If Acuna didn't have the year he did last year, his stock really exploded. If there was not Shohei Otani, he would have no question been the number one prospect. No question at all. He's that good. He's that gifted. What I see is sort of like Bryce Harper, A-Rod, and a Ken Griffey Jr. type player. Players that are that talented, at age 19, you're talking them of being in the big leagues and not like, oh, I'm 19 in high A, maybe I'll somehow get to the big. No. Spending quality time in the majors at 19. By the time he's 20, he's going to be a big league regular and probably will already have major league experience. I mean, this is really something special. Number 4, Eloy Jimenez, who's an outfielder for the White Sox. So here's the thing about Jimenez. He has 70 power, which is ranked very high up there among minor league prospects. I mean, when you talk about 70 power, that is really good. Probably very high in your class. 70 is amazing. 80 is something you might see maybe once every few years or once every few times a decade. Something extraordinary, like generational. He has special power. And look, he's yet another pitcher or another player that the White Sox have gotten in part of the rebuild, really in a trade, So many, you can go on and on at the trade. And he played actually once he got to Chicago and played very well in Double-A in the White Sox system. And look, but he's going to go to spring training. If he plays well, shows he can get big league pitching. Then I think he'll be in Chicago in 2018. Look, they're rebuilding, so there's really no rush. They don't need to rush Jimenez. I think Jimenez will be ready during the middle of the season, and really 2019 will be his first full year. So will he be in the big leagues this year? I'd say yes, probably so. Number 5, Victor Robles, outfielder for the Washington Nationals. So, of all these players on this list, and really in the entire minors, he might be the best talent, might have the best talent of any player in the minors. He really might. He has 5-tool talent. So 5-tool talent means you can hit for a high average, have a fair amount of power, have great speed, really good speed, can throw the ball well, have a good arm, and good at defense. That is rare. That is rare in the major leagues. There's only a few players in the league. And look, unlike the previous 4, he has big league experience. He got called up, and he definitely showed some flashes after playing very well in high A and Double-A. Played very well, showed some flashes in Washington. It was great to see him play. And look, it's not lack of talent or lack of development. This guy's already been in the majors. But when you have Eaton, Taylor, and Harper all in the same outfield, you're either going to be the 4th outfielder, so maybe you play 3 times a week, 3 or 4 times a week, so get limited at bats, or you're on the bench. So my guess is what's going to happen is he's going to go to Triple-A, he's going to play there, and if anyone gets hurt, hopefully it's not Harper, whether it's Eaton or Taylor or any outfielder, even the 4th outfielder. I think he's going to be in the majors, and who knows, maybe he's even on the opening day roster and he's a Rookie of the Year candidate, so we'll see. But yeah, I think he's going to be in Washington full-time in 2019, and the thing that might make it necessary is, unfortunately, Bryce Harper leaving. It would be great if they could play together, but that might not happen very much. So, look, Robles is special. Their best hitting prospect since Harper will be in the majors this year. Hopefully it's a full season, but we don't know yet. It's hard to say. Number 6, Gleyber Torres, shortstop for the New York Yankees. So, Torres last year was in Triple-A, was hitting above 300, and had Tommy John surgery in June. Torres would have been up mid-season, no question. He would have certainly been called up, would have been a key piece in their playoff run. And being a shortstop, and the Yankees knew that. Played some second and third, That's the position he's going to play in the majors. And I think they'll work out for him. I think he'll be very good at those positions. So we know he can really hit. That's his strength. And will he be in the majors here? Yes. Now, with Ronald Acuna, as I talked about earlier, number one prospect. Torres will be in the majors, I think, fairly early in the year. But they might go down in the minors briefly. Like what happened with Chris Bryant a few years ago. That happened with Bryce Harper, too. So he can get a little more at-bats, in the minors. And then he said, okay, ready to go. That's what's going to happen. I think Torres will be up fairly early in the year, definitely by April, May. And could be, I think he'll be a key piece in this foundation of the Yankees' next dynasty. And by the way, this guy was once in the Cubs system. So yet another player the Cubs traded. So instead of being in the centerpiece of one potential dynasty, is in another one. Number 7, Nick Senzel, third baseman in the Reds organization. So Senzel, he was drafted as a college bat. And is close to the majors, of course, since, again, hit well over 300 in high A and double A last year. And playing in the SEC, played against premier baseball talent. And, look, I think he's ready to go. I think could be the type of hitter that wins a batting title, could develop the power, could be one of the better hitters in this league in 3 or 4 years from now. And, yeah, I think he'll start out in AAA, just get a little more minor league seasoning. And I think he'll be called up sometime around May and June, but he's definitely going to be in the majors this year. No question about that. Number 8, Bo Bichette, shortstop, drafted out of high school in 2016. And went to low A, dominated, and then dominated again in high A. And is he going to be in the majors next year? It's hard to say. I do not think he's as close to the MLB as Vlad Jr. I really don't think so. I think he should go to spring training just to see what he can do. And if he performs like that at a high level, he could be a possible September call-up. 2 years after being drafted. That's pretty remarkable. But I think 2019, which is very impressive, 3 years after being drafted, especially, not really for a college player, but for a high school player, that is remarkable. So yeah, I think they could be a really good hitting combination in the majors together. Number 9, Fernando Tatis Jr., shortstop in the San Diego Padres system. So, this trade was a steal since 2 years ago, when the White Sox, before they were the White Sox, that year they got off to a really good start and they decided that they thought they were contenders, so they got James Shields, and that turned out that didn't work out at all. Shields has been terrible in the White Sox so far, and that was a prospect that the White Sox lost that they could have had. And his stock has really skyrocketed in the Padres system. He's at a 20-30 year. And look, he's going to be in spring training. I think he'll be down there briefly, since really he was great in low A and skip high A, went to double A. But I really think he's either going to be back in double A or really maybe in high A. He is 19. Could he be a 19-year-old in the big leagues? Probably not, considering how he was mostly in low A last year and how he still needs more time in double A for sure, maybe even high A. And there's no way you'd see someone in low A in less than a year. That wouldn't happen. So yeah, but I think he'll be in the big leagues a good bit when he's 20. I think 2019 is my best guess sometime in that year. But still, Padres are starting to build their farm system up, and I think he's the centerpiece of that. Number 10, Forrest Whitley, right-handed pitcher for the Houston Astros. So, look, Whitley last year was in Double A and just his first full season. That is pretty remarkable. Being in High A alone is remarkable. Double A is even more impressive. And look, he's the type of pitcher that has elite stuff in the fastball and the curveball. 65, which is almost at the top. Very, very, very impressive. And could he go to spring training? That could happen just to surprise a few people. Just to see, to see what he does against big league pitching. I think he'll go back to Double-A. And it's possible maybe progresses to Triple-A and is in the majors this year, possibly for a postseason team. But I think 2019 is more of his year to have a chance to shine in the rotation. 2019 is his year. And will he pitch in the big leagues in 2018? Probably not. Maybe a little bit, but not that much. Sorry about that. Alright. Number 11. Michael Kopech. Right-handed pitcher. Chicago White Sox. So, what Kopech is pretty special, really. Being able to throw 100 miles per hour and have a 65 slider. I mean, that is rare. And, look, I think that what he has is potential is good enough to be a dominant starter at the major league level. And this guy, again, was part of that Chris Sale deal, was a centerpiece. Again, yet another example, the White Sox really developing their farm system. And was great in Double-A last year. Finished in Triple-A. Now he could start again, and I think he'll definitely be in the majors by the middle of the season. Since the White Sox are still rebuilding, and he would join Lucas Giolito and Ronaldo Lopez, who have graduated from the prospects. They now qualify as big league starters, so that could be very interesting to have both of them in the rotation together. All three at the same time. That could be, that kind of reminds me of kind of what the Mets were in 2015, of all these pitchers coming in the big leagues at the same time, or having all these young pitchers with all this potential together at once. Number 12, Mitch Keller. So, I'd say Keller's stock has kind of risen the last 2 years. High school guy, drafted in 2014, and is still in Double-A, which is okay. That's about average pace. And then, he may be the type of pitcher that the Pirates need in rebuilding. Potentially their ace of the future, really, since one will go back to, Double-A. But at the same time, they traded Garrett Cole, and I definitely think he could be called up in 2018. I think it's fairly likely. And with Garrett Cole gone, once again, he may be the starting pitcher with the best future potential. Number 13, Walker Buehler, right-handed pitcher for the Dodgers. So, Buehler, it's pretty interesting. He had Tommy John surgery not long after he was drafted. And so that basically takes a year off of your career, and still got called up within 2 years after being drafted, despite the Tommy John surgery. And look, he has a lot of potential. 3 different pitches he has are graded 60 or higher, which is remarkable. And with him and Kershaw, which Kershaw could be a free agent after this year, so there's no guarantee he's going to be around. But if he can develop, that could be very interesting to have them together as 2 different. That could be a great combination. So anyways, he has some big league experience, pitched out of the bullpen last year in September. And look, I think as the season moves along, I think he'll move into the rotation. May start out in the bullpen. And if any starter gets hurt, I think Buehler will be ready and could be yet another Dodgers rookie that contributes to a postseason team. It's fairly common in Los Angeles. Number 14, Brent Honeywell. So Honeywell, his name's been around for 3 or 4 years now, Had another good season, pitched most of the season in Triple-A. And his best pitch is kind of rare. It's a screwball, which the screwball, I have not heard of it in a long time, I've heard a lot of different pitches, but that is not one every pitcher has. In fact, I don't think there is a starter in the MLB that has one. Or you know what? Now that I think about it, I think Blake Snell, who was quite a good Rays pitching prospect, was the minor league player of the year award a couple of years ago. I think he has a screwball. So maybe that's just a thing that happens in the Rays system. But anyways, a rare pitch. So I think that could be interesting to watch the screwball. And look, could be the A's next ace, since one, David Price and Archer may be gone, which is very common thing that happens in the Rays. Stars leave. And will he be there this season? Yes, he's going to be in the majors. He has nothing to prove. He has done very well in AAA, the high level of the minors, and I think he should be in the opening day rotation. So yeah, he's ready. And should they be worried about that, him leaving? Well, look. Number one, the Rays, they've had stars leave throughout their history, so they shouldn't worry about it. If he's ready, he's ready. I think he should be in the opening day rotation. Number 15, Kyle Tucker, an outfielder in the Houston Astros system. So Tucker just turned 21 and already has AA experience. And he has shown the Astros the ability, to be hit for average and power, at 25 home runs in 2017. And look, it's remarkable, remember, here's something to remember. Carlos Correa in 2015 got called up after getting hurt, was doing great in high A, got hurt in 2014. And then I think started in AA, I don't know how much time he spent in AAA. Maybe none, if any, very brief. It was basically called up 2 months into the season at 20. Never looked back, and here he's been best player, one of the best players on the World Series championship team. And look, and I think Tucker can kind of do the same thing. I think we'll be in spring training some, and I think he'll be called up sometime around mid-season, late in the year. Could be a key part in the playoff team, if not next year. Number 16, J.P. Crawford. So, Crawford, he's drafted in 2013. It took a while, almost 4 full seasons. It looked like he's moving pretty well for a while. Thought maybe he'll be in the big leagues in 2016 since he went to AAA in just his 3rd full season in the minors. But then kind of went back to AAA, took a while. And really for him, he started at a level and then finished the season at a level and then restarted. So that might have been a little bit of a problem for him. And look, he's no question the Phillies' best shortstop prospect since Jimmy Rollins, and maybe their best shortstop since Jimmy Rollins already. So we'll see. And look, I think he can be really good on offense and defense. And look, he's going to be the opening day shortstop. Already got a September call-up. I think he's really ready for the big leagues. The only reason why he's on this list is he did not qualify as a rookie. So he's gonna be up in the majors all season. Number 17, Alex Reyes, a right-handed pitcher for the Cardinals. So Reyes, look, he had a lot of good potential. It seemed like he had an upper 90s to 100-mile-per-hour fastball. Really seemed like he had good stuff, really good potential. Had Tommy John surgery about a year ago. Going to be ready by opening day. Could be May, which is normally around about a year, a little over. Time to recover. And once he gets back, I don't know, and I don't think the Cardinals know either, whether he'll be in the bullpen or start. But he's going to be in the majors in 2018. Like I said, he already got a 2016 September call-up. Last year would have been his first full year. He wouldn't have been on this list if he didn't have Tommy John surgery. But what I'd say is I'm nervous about his future, since when you throw hard, you've already had one Tommy John surgery. That shows your elbow has been damaged bad enough. They need to completely replace it. This is definitely a concern in the future. Hopefully overcomes it and just really becomes a really solid starter. So we'll see. Number 18, Lewis Brinson, outfielder for the Miami Marlins system. So, Brinson is actually in his 3rd organization in the Marlins. He was drafted by the Rangers, was a key prospect for them, but then in 2016 the Rangers were going for a World Series run, and of course they didn't win it, and was traded to the Brewers, who were rebuilding at the time. And now the Brewers acquired Christian Yelich. So that meant the Brewers are now going into win now mode. They're trying to win now. They still have a farm system, but they've traded some pieces, and Brinson was the centerpiece. And he definitely has all-star potential. No question about that. I think he'll get plenty of opportunities on a Marlins team that's going to be really bad this year. I don't think they'll win 60. They're going to lose 100 games. He's going to get all the chances he's going to get. I think he's going to get a lot of starting time, a lot of playing time. Since the space is wide open, all their outfield, which all three of them have been all-star at some point or another, are just completely gone. And this is just what they're going to be doing. Number 19, Willie Adames, shortstop in the Reyes organization. So Adames, at the time, was in the Detroit farm system in 2014 during the trade deadline, was in low A at the time, and since then, is taking it one level at a time. So high A, 15, double A, 16, triple A, and spent all of last year at triple A. So with the progress he's made, I think he's ready to be in the majors in 2018. I think he should be their starting shortstop right now. There's no more minor leagues left to play in. That's what it's going to be. Well, he's definitely going to be in the majors in 2018, I think, right away. Number 20, Francisco Mejia, catcher for the Cleveland Indians organization. So, in 2016, put together a 50-game hit streak, one of the longest in baseball history, majors or minors, and clearly one of the better hitting catchers in the minors, no question about that. And for the Indians, they won 102 games. They're a World Series contender caliber team. But really, offensive production out of their catchers is one of their biggest weaknesses. And look, Mejia, if I can think of the Indians' best offensive catchers recently, it's Victor Martinez, and he's the best one since Victor Martinez, no question. And he played some in the big leagues in 2017. He already has some major league experience. But he has not spent. So what could happen is the Indians will send him down to AAA, might play there for a few months, and then, look, he's going to be in the majors in 2018. The question is how much, whether he's called up in April, whether it's May, or whether they wait until July, August, but I think he'll be the starting catcher come playoff time. Number 21, Austin Hayes, an outfielder in the Orioles organization. So, 2016, Austin Hayes, he's a third-round pick, a solid player, very good player, and basically went to high A, was great there, double A, and then did he go to triple A? I think he spent a little time in triple A, but was called up at the end of the year, and after hitting over 300 and 32 home runs in the minors, I think he's ready to go in the majors. I think he has nothing left to prove. And of any prospects other than Crawford, I think he's very likely to be on the opening day roster. I really think he will. Since number 1, Manny Machado may leave after 2018. So that means that Hayes has the highest long-term offensive potential of any Oriole. I think that's correct. With Machado gone, you look at the rest of the team, and you see you see Hayes, that's the one. He's going to play 2018 in Baltimore. Number 22, Brendan Rodgers, a shortstop in the Rocky system. So yeah, the Rockies, what do you expect? They've had so many different guys develop into premium offensive bats throughout their history. Coors Field's the best hitting park in Major League history. That's a team that has always been built on offense. So, the question is, how will he be in the majors? Well, look, he hit 400 in high A last year, went to double A, and playing in Coors Field is only going to help. Third base is blocked. That's Arenado's spot. That's taken. Shortstop, I don't know. It depends if Trevor Story can bounce back. I think second base is going to be his position. And the Rockies, they don't need to rush him. He does not need to be rushed at all. This is only his third full season in the minors. I do think, based on double A, if he hits there, he's going to go to triple A in the PCL. That's a really, really good hitting league. So, if my best guess, I think he'll be in the majors some in 2018, but I really think 2019 is his first full year really to show what he can do. And there's one thing to think about. If he spends a reasonable part of this year in Colorado, I think he could be a Rookie of the Year candidate. I think he could get some votes depending on what happens. If not this year, 2019. Number 23, Luis Gohara, left-handed pitcher in the Braves organization. So, it took a while for him to get going, took a few years, but in 2017 went from high A all the way to the majors. And look, is one of the many arms that the Braves are developing right now. And look, I thought he did fairly well, showed some flashes, far from perfect, but that's okay in your first time in the majors. Small sample size. And he'll go to spring training. Definitely get a good long look. I think he'll compete for a spot in the rotation, probably 4 or 5 starter. And I do think he'll spend some time in the majors, since some of these guys they have may not work out this year. People will get hurt. That happens. The question really is how much, and look, it's amazing how much potential the Braves have. I mean, you look at, and I'll get to a lot of them later, but they have Mike Sikora, that is, Kyle Wright, Colby Allardy, and Anderson. Some of them are farther away from the big leagues than others, but you look at their farm system, and you could pick out a rotation. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Just all these rotations. And it's a logjam, and it's a good thing, but that could be interesting. Braves are definitely building their organization around pitching. Number 24, Royce Lewis, shortstop in the Minnesota Twins system. So Lewis, was drafted number 1 overall back in June, and in the year went to low A for a little while and played quite well. I think he hit around 300. So, look, that is definitely a sign of progress going to low A, since some first-round picks may spend all their year in low A in their first full year, or even go to extended spring training. Guys that are the roster need the most time to develop. But for him, look, if he plays well like he did last year and says, okay, I'm ready for IA, and then imagine if he's in double A, and, this could be one of the guys. It's rare. It is rare. But there are guys who make it to the majors within 2 years, and certainly 3, and I think Lewis could be one of them. But then again, could be stuck in low A for a year. Could take 3 or 4 years. So it's hard to say. I don't know. Certainly not this year. I can try to guess. Maybe next year. Who knows? We'll really have to see how this year goes first. And number 25, Sixto Sanchez, a right-handed pitcher in the Phillies organization. So Sanchez, look, he's the best pitching prospect in the organization, has the potential to be their ace, but is barely above a full season, spent most of last year in low A, some high A experience, and is still quite raw. That being, we'll need a few more years in the minors before he's ready. I think if he makes it double A this year, that could be a big accomplishment. He's not going to be in the majors this year. I think more next year is going to be his year. I think by 2020, I think he'll have a full year in the rotation. So again, it's hard to say, but certainly not this year. Well, that is part 1. We went through 25 different players. A lot of them will be playing in spring training this year. Part 2 will be number 26 through 50, and we'll release that maybe even as soon as tomorrow. But if we don't get in tomorrow, we'll definitely get it in at some point next week for sure. So thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.